Good morning, first graders. Today we're on page 131 of your student journal, page 131. And our objective today is I will solve word problems with the start unknown. So this is exactly what we did in our last video. So today we're just going to be practicing some more. So we don't have any new vocabulary. It's the same as yesterday. So I'm just going to get started on my examples. Okay, so here's my first problem. It says, there were some ducks. Okay, now 2 ducks flew away. There are 6 ducks left. How many ducks were there to begin with? Okay, so when they say there were some ducks, some means we don't know how many. So some ducks is our unknown. It's our whole, but it's our unknown. 2 ducks flew away. 2 is our first part. And there are 6 ducks left. So 6 is our second part. Okay, how many ducks were there to begin with? So they want to know how many ducks were there at the beginning. So I could write this as a subtraction problem and say D take away or subtract one part equals the other part. So whole subtract one part equals the other part. So D subtract 2 equals 6. Okay, or I know that the 2 parts, when they're added together, 2 plus 6 has to equal my whole. Okay, so I'm going to use this to solve for my unknown. So I'm going to count on. I'm going to start with 6 and say 6, 7, 8. So my unknown is 8 because my 2 parts added together equal my unknown. Okay, let's look at my next one. Dan has some games. He gives 8 games to Todd. Now he has 3 games. How many games did Dan begin with? Okay, so it says Dan has some games. When we see some, we don't know how many that is. So our unknown is our whole, and they're using a G for our variable. He gives 8 games to Todd. So he gave 8, so that's our first part. Now he has 3 games. So our second part is 3. Okay, so how many games did Dan begin with? So they want to know how many did he start with? What was the whole before he gave some away? So our equation is our whole subtract one part equals the other part. So G subtract 8 equals 3. Or we know that our 2 parts, if we add them together, get our whole. So we could say 8 plus 3 equals our variable. So I'm going to use our count on strategy and say I have 8, 9, 10, 11. So our variable, or our unknown, is 11. So Dan had 11 games to start with. Okay, let's do some of these together, boys and girls. We're on page 132. We're on page 132. And our equation says, Chris has some dimes. He lends 6 dimes to his sister. Now he has 3 dimes left. How many dimes did he start with? Okay, so Chris has some dimes. We don't know how many some is, so that's our unknown. Okay, then it says that he lends 6 dimes to his sister. So 6 is our first part. Now he has 3 dimes left. So 3 is our second part. Okay, so we don't know our whole, but we know our 2 parts are 6 and 3. Okay, so our equation is whole subtract one part equals the other part. So D subtract 6 equals 3. Okay, We also know, though, boys and girls, that we could add our two parts together and they have to equal our whole. So we could also set up our equation as part plus part equals whole, or 6 plus 3 equals D. So I'm going to use my count on strategy and say I have 6, 7, 8, 9. So my whole is 9. Okay, let's do one more together. Okay, our next problem says, Helen had a bunch of flowers. She gives 4 flowers away. Now she has 8 flowers. How many flowers did Helen begin with? Okay, when it says Helen has a bunch of flowers, a bunch, we don't know how many a bunch is. A bunch is like the same as saying some. We don't know. So that's our variable, and they're using F. So our whole is we don't know how many she had. She gives 4 flowers away. So that's our first part, 4. Now she has 8 flowers. So that's our second part. How many flowers did Helen begin with? Okay, so we have our whole is F and our two parts are 4 and 8. Okay, so our first equation is whole take away part equals the other part. Or F subtract 4 equals 8. Okay, we also know though, boys and girls, that part plus part equals our whole. So we can say part plus part equals whole, or 4 plus 8 equals F. Okay, so I'm going to use my count on strategy. I have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So my whole is 12. So Helen started with 12 flowers. Okay, friends, I will see you tomorrow. Have a good day.